Rick Beato did in a show. If you don't know who Rick Beato is, you should check him out. He said about the average amount of time that a YouTube channel remains active. And the time of that, he said, is 5 years. November 20th of this year, which is 2022, this will be our 10th year.
No.
10 years.
Whoa.
I know.
Whoa.
We were such younger men then.
Haven't changed a bit.
No.
You know,
Back doesn't hurt more.
it's a good, clean living.
Yeah. Good, clean living. Hey guys, I'm Doug.
And I'm Pat.
Welcome back to the Doug and Pat Show. Pat and I, on occasion, as you know, with camera on or not with camera on, talk about tone endlessly. And the tone that we always talk about is a classic tone that we like. And we've identified that a number of times. And half of that equation is the guitar. Mm-hmm. But the other half of that equation is the amplifier. We're really, in case you're wondering if this is really how we feel, you can see that we have a lot of amplifiers. We think the tube amplifiers and vintage amplifiers, most of them sound really good. I think they're made well, and we like them. There are reissues of amplifiers that have come out that are supposed to be reissues of those amplifiers. So we're always interested in how good are they compared to the old ones, sound-wise, build-wise, that is, are they a quality build, and the way they look, right?
Yep.
So we have an opportunity today to take on two types of amplifiers. One of them is the Supro amplifier. We have a viewer named Brent in Seattle. Thank you, Brent, so much for bringing these amps down to us from Seattle. And he has it's called the Sun Dragon amplifier, that is a newer amplifier that is after the Coronado, modified Coronado that Jimmy Page used on the early Led Zeppelin stuff, supposedly. You know, there's an interesting interview with, actually it's not really all that interesting, because John Gundry, remember John?
Oh yeah.
Throwback, great guy, we love John. He does a little interview with the guy that built the amplifier is Mitch Colby. And he does a little interview with Mitch Colby about the amplifier at the NAMM show that we were at a couple of years ago.
Right.
Mitch says absolutely nothing about this amplifier. It's like, John's asking him, you know, like, so what is the mojo here? What do you do? He doesn't say anything, but you can look it up. John did a great job trying to get stuff out of him. So, so Brent has one of those Sun Dragons. I guess some of them that they made, initially handmade amplifiers, Jimmy signed, which
Right.
put a huge price went up. And then they had some that Jimmy didn't sign, and that's one of these. And so we have one of those today, and we're going to compare it to the 1959 Supro Coronado, which is the basic amplifier that Jimmy was using that was modified somehow, that no one's talking about, or no one knows. The other equation in the amplifier, of course, is the speaker.
Right.
So most of these speakers in these amplifiers are not original unless they're ours, and then they are the original speakers. So they're using, interestingly enough, the new Jensen, which are made in Italy, and Alnico. And I have to say, after listening to these amplifiers that we're going to be getting into, I think those speakers sound pretty good. Actually, kind of shocking.
The 12s?
Yep, 12s. The other amplifiers we're doing is one that you have probably seen on the Doug and Pat Show if you saw the first Doug and Pat Show. And that was going to be Amplifiers of Pat's, which is that 20-watt Marshall head that is supposed to be for guitar and bass.
Right.
20 watt. Has no reverb in it. And then they made a reissue of that amplifier a few years back. Do they still make that amplifier, the reissue of it?
You know, I don't think so. I think they make the 18 watt still, but not the 20.
Yeah. So the 20 is a head, and the 18 watt is the combo.
A combo.
Yeah, and we did 2 shows on the 18-watt combo reissue, comparing it to an original one. So that's what we're going to do today, is we are going to plug into these amplifiers and see what they do.
I can't remember whether it's the 18 that they've discontinued or the 20 watt, but in any event, see what you think.
Yeah, I think also it's slightly more relevant now in the sense that I think more and more players are using smaller amps.
Yep.
Yeah. So, in the old days, when we talk about the old days, that would be, right you got out of the Army after World War I, a little bit after that. Guitar players used to have to use really huge amplifiers like 100-watt Marshall stacks because the PAs were bad.
Yeah.
But then it's when PAs got much, much better and they wanted to be able to control stage volume, I think a lot more players are using smaller amps, even though they may have fake cabinets on the stage to make it look like they're using more and more of them.
Marshall stacks up there with the Mesa Boogie amp stuck inside of it.
Yeah. So I think that these amplifiers might be of interest now because because we're Doug and Pat, that is, or Pat and Doug, depending on what your wife says, right?
Yeah. She never calls you Doug.
No? What'd she call me? Sweetie? That's horrible.
Sure.
They're happily married. They've been married for 75 years. They're happily married. We're always interested in these amplifiers are relevant now. Do they sound good now? Example, the Jimmy Page thing. The connection with Jimmy Page is of interest, but it wasn't really the sound that I was completely into back in the day. But is it a sound that sounds good now? So that's part of our deal. So
and all these manufacturers claim when they put out these reissue amps that they sound just like the originals. And so that's for you to decide also.
Yeah.
Because they, not all of them do.
Yeah, especially if you don't own one of the originals.
That's right.
Like if you're going to compare it to let's say the Supro Sun Dragon, I don't know how much that amplifier was, 15 grand, 20 grand?
25, I think they wanted.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay, so that takes a lot of people out of the running.
Oh, it's got to sound great, though, if it's $25,000.
You would hope. But the amplifier that it's going after is a 1959 Coronado. Good luck finding one of those.
Yeah.
So either way on these two, as an example of how this would go, is it really sound the same? Is it really moving in that direction? How would you know if you're interested in the marketplace? Doug and Pat are on your side, consumer advocates.
We're here for you.
That's right. The first amp we're going to hear is going to be the Sun Dragon. I'm going to play a telly on it because that's what Page played. Although my telly's kind of a put together guitar.
It's a player's guitar.
Yeah.
It's not a collectible, whatever.
It sounds great, but it's not worth really anything. I mean, it's worth something, but if somebody stole it, I'm not out a whole bunch of money and put together another one. Pat sells these parts, and I can just...
Yeah, we can put you together a 52.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The little blackguard thing on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've just talked about the Sun Dragon. It has the P12Q Jensen in it. We love a P12Q Jensen. The original P12Q is probably our favorite speaker, other than the Silver Alnico G12 Celestian. The interesting thing is when we hear on these amplifiers that these speakers actually sound good. I've never heard one before. And if you have a speaker that doesn't sound very good with a great sounding amp, it's like having bad tires on your Porsche, like on my Porsche.
Yeah.
Or in the case of your Maybach that you have, we had really good tires on it. So yeah, I play some pretty lame Led Zeppelin stuff on this, but I don't really know how to play Led Zeppelin that much. But let's hear it anyway.
All right.
So this is just plugged into the channel number 1 on the treble input. Volumes are right around 1 o'clock. The tone controls at 9 o'clock. not mushy. It's really punchy, and so that it has clarity to the breakup. It doesn't have that boomy low end, you know, that like in Marshalls. If you don't cut that low end, the thing doesn't sound right.
And you're in channel 1.
I mean, channel 1. There's 2 channels. One's tremolo channel, and the other is the normal channel. And I'm in the treble position. The tone control is active. That's a lot. That's a lot for that. I think he improved it. Security, can we get this drunk person out of here? And no, the amps will stay. Just get him out of here. Get him in his car. It also picks up gain as you. I'm going to plug in a reverb delay pedal. Why are you going to do that? Shut up. You don't know me and the problems I've had in my life. It has tremolo. I want to thank Brent for bringing this 1959 Coronado. It has a secret trick to it that he told us about. That is that the output transformer in it for the speaker is 2 ohm transformer. So that's pretty wild, considering that it's a single speaker in the amp. Is that really like the secret? Brent says that's the modification, the 2 modifications to the Plant Jimmy Page, not Robert Plant amp, no.
The Jimmy Plant amp.
Not the Ringo amp. Oh, the Ringo play. In the Super Coronado, they call it the, it has a stripe that goes on it. So it's like they call it skunk stripe or some sort of thing like that. They look really great. The controls are the same on the original Coronado and the Sundragon amp. Anyway, they have 2 things. They have a 2 ohm transformer, which he got one, an original one, and put it in his Coronado. 2, it has a thing that there is an additional ground that can be connected, that he has wired up, that achieves more power.
Wow.
I don't know. We're going to hear it. He also brought along other Valco amplifiers, which is what the Coronado and what the all those Supros were, as were a lot of the amplifiers made back in the 50s. So he brought a Gretsch that was a great sounding amp. We're not going to have it in the show. He also brought one that's a 1961 Dwight. And so it's made for a music store, and they put their own thing on it. So Valco amplifiers are really underrated amplifiers, and yet they made them for lots and lots of people. Made in Chicago in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And of course, Supro is still a company that's in business now.
Yep. Making a big comeback.
Yeah.
Really, those amps are great, for recording. I don't know so much playing live places or anything like that, but you can get a great tone on them recording wise and make them bit fat, just.
Yeah, the Coronado is pretty powerful, but most of those amplifiers are pretty small.
Right.
Like almost, practice amp sort of size. We're going to hear that Coronado right now. This is the 59 Coronado, and we have the volume up probably right around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Tone control right around 3 o'clock. really noisy Telecaster. Hello. Tighter, a little bit tighter. It's got the top end, to me, from what I'm hearing, is it's got like magic dust going on in there. And this is a new speaker. I guess there's another little magic thing going on, which would be a little switch thing that you can flip and you can make it sound even more exaggerated.
That's what I heard.
You want to hear what that sounds like?
Okay.
Let's get our tech guy to flip the switch. Be careful there, tech guy. This is expensive equipment. That is like so recordable.
Yeah.
It's just like you could just, you know, it takes up all the room in the whole entire spectrum. You don't even need anything else. Well, you might need drums or bass or something, but.
Do you know anything by Johnny Mathis?
Johnny Mathis? Tiny bubble. Is that Johnny Mathis?
I don't know. I don't even know who he is.
Next up are the Marshalls. So Pat has these two 20-watt Marshall models, an old one and a new one.
Right.
Kind of like that 18-watt combo comparison that we did that's really still gets a lot of people writing in about it, you know, taking all the tubes out and stuff. We're not going to take the tubes out because they're two amplifier heads. We're going to run them through a common cabinet, which is a 212 cabinet that has two Celestion greenbacks from 1970. So they're, you know, the real deal Marshall sound. They're in real good shape. So what do you know about this thing, Pat? These amps?
Well, the newer one is one we used in Geezer.
Right.
for several
And
years.
and the first show.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it sounds real good, but it is a new amp, and it's supposed to be a faithful reproduction of the was it the 2022 model, and that is what the other amp is. It's a 69 2022 20-watt amp. It's all original.
Two channels.
Two channels.
Oddly enough, one of them's for bass.
Right.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Expert on amplifiers. Doesn't it seem like probably about 68, 69, that really the quest, or even before that, was for bigger amplifiers? Marshall, they really, the 50 watt was even becoming too small. They were doing 100 watters and 200 watters at the time. Doesn't it seem kind of odd that Marshall would put out a 20 watt amp, including calling it a bass amp?
Yep.
Yeah.
It does.
Yep.
It's odd.
What's odder than that is, this is the Marshall book. This is a pretty fun book, in case you guys don't have it and you want to know about stuff. It's about Marshall and Celestion speakers. This is an ad, the only ad that I've been able to come across. There's got to be one somewhere. That's the same amplifier as a PA system. So let me get this right. This is one versatile amplifier at 20 watts. PA system,
Yep.
bass amp, guitar amp.
Guitar amp, lead
Guitar amp.
lead guitar amp. That's right.
Here's some pictures of them from the back, and they look the same. Transformer sizes and all that look the same. That's good. From the front, the logo that has the gold on it is the newer one, which is kind of interesting. I thought that would be the old one, but what do I know? So what speaker cabinet came with this, the old one that you have here?
Well, the one that I got with it's 410s, in all original type speakers. I forget the name of them. They're
Something.
little tin things. But
We have to apologize that we actually don't really know everything there's to know about this stuff. We just play on them, and then sometimes we
that's
take
the
backs
bottom
off.
line.
Yeah.
If they sound good,
And if we make mistakes, it's because we're sometimes just making stuff up. The newer one,
he lies a lot.
I do. I'm horrible. So the newer one, it came with a different type of cabinet.
Yes, it came with a 212 slant cabinet, two 12-inch Celestions, and it noticeable difference, of course, in the two cabinets, the way they sound, and all of this, and brightness, and all that kind of stuff. But for it pretty much has a faithful Marshall tone to it, no matter which cabinet it goes through. So I think personally, and you might agree or you might not agree.
Maybe not.
And
Maybe they don't.
He
agree.
doesn't really care.
Right. Well, that's not true, and don't say that in the comment section.
But the thing is that I think that the newer one, especially through the 410s, is a lot brighter sounding, or the older one rather. The new one through the 212s is mushier sounding or crunchier sounding, I guess. They both have to be played pretty on 9 or 10 to get the sound or the tone out of them that you're going to want. But they're great for recording, for in your home.
Heck yeah. I think that more people are going to smaller amplifiers right now
Definitely.
because of monitor systems and all that.
Definitely.
And having a 100-watt Marshall stack in your house to record guitars sometimes might be not that popular with your neighbors.
Or to haul around when
Or
you
to
get
haul
to be
around.
his age.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the 412 cabinet.
I have a
is-
government card that says I don't have to haul them around anymore after I got a certain
Well,
age.
with your money and means, you'd think you'd have somebody haul it around for you. So who would care how much they weighed or
Right
how
there.
they were? So
Where do those amps reside? Your house? How'd they get here? They don't live here. Anyway, that's neither here nor there how they got here.
yeah, we won't even go there.
It's not important. Yeah, so let's give them a listen.
Okay.
And again, we are plugging them into, it's a Vox cabinet that looks, you can't see it, but here's a picture of it. A newer Vox cabinet on the rack that has those two 12-inch pre-roll Celestions in it. So we're definitely going for capturing the Marshall sound.
Let's do it.
Let's crank it. Let's do the newer one first. It has, we're just going to be into the guitar channel which looks just like the bass channel. It has a volume and it has a tone control. And we're going to use them both. This is the Heritage H150 1994 that you saw in the first Doug and Pat show. And if you're a watcher of this show, you'll see it a lot. We use this guitar as a demo guitar because it's a good guitar, but it doesn't cost $5,000. It has Amber Spirit of 59 pickups in it, which we think sound very PAF. Let's do the volume control first. Treble pickup on the Heritage. All right. So like Pat said, we have the volume on almost all the way up. I'm going to put it on like 9. Tone control is very active. When you turn it just a little bit, you can hear the high end start to creep in. I think it gives a lot of flexibility. You don't have to get it overly bright to get presence on it. I'm going to put it at about 12 o'clock. Guitar all the way up. Definitely crunches up.
It does.
I think that it doesn't crunch up the way that, like, if you were buying a 50 or 100 watt Marshall in 1969, and you would turn them up about halfway or so, they would really be grindy. So this is a little cleaner than that. I'm going to turn the treble control up a little bit more to about 3 o'clock. It's got that vintage thing going on to it. It makes this guitar sound like it has PAFs in it to me. Mm-hmm. You know, it's got those overtones and all that stuff like that. You have to crank it to get it to do it.
Yep.
I'm going to crank the treble just a little bit more, and then we'll... Has a nice presence on it.
It do.
Mm-hmm. Treble all the way up now. Interesting stuff.
Fun stuff.
What'd you think? So, what do you think? Do you think the old amplifiers in both situations sound better? Do you think the new ones? What do you think?
I have old ears,
What's that mean?
so that means I like the old sound of the old amplifiers. It's just something about the maybe they're just broken in or worn in or something properly. Or
that's been said
whatever.
about them. The tubes. I don't know.
They just sound in the room anyway. They sound better to me.
Me too.
So
Me too. I thought that Coronado was really special. It's like I think I'm gonna rip Brent off on that amplifier. No, actually, it's not supposed to say that. I guess on camera.
no.
Because we really appreciate.
It'll come
him.
back to haunt you.
I know you could,
You know.
but we really do appreciate Brent you bringing those amplifiers down there. So yeah, Billy Gibbons. You mentioned earlier to me when you first showed up here in your limo that Billy was in touch with you saying that he wanted to jam with us.
Yeah,
That I don't
he
I
does.
don't believe it.
Well,
I don't believe what you're saying.
Hey, I don't lie, and Billy does because he said he'd be here. What? How many years ago? But yeah, it's he wants to come on the show and hang out and spend a little bit of time. And then
Quality time, I
Yeah,
hope.
and then he said he wanted to do a little jam type of thing. So
Yeah. Okay.
that's what we're just kind of waiting for. We have the amps and we got the guitars, so all
We can and we
just
can get
show
some
up.
magnetone amplifiers. We can bring we're gonna bring some magnetone amplifiers in anyway and play on them. See what they sound like. Have you seen this video it's from the 80s, I think, of ZZ Top, and they appear to be on a TV show for a Japanese, they're filming for a Japanese audience. They have this young girl who giggles all the time, and they're playing, I don't know what they're playing, like Give Me All Your Lovin' or something like that. They appear to be in a swamp in Louisiana, on like a little island in the swamp because there's boats around them, and they're lip syncing to one of the tracks.
Weird.
Yeah. The real weird thing is they're playing these guitars that look like they're fake, like they're really, really modern looking, but they probably don't work because alongside Billy down on the ground is what looks like a PV Pacer or some sort of little PV combo amplifier. Just hilarious. Like what? Why would you even put that on there? Why don't you just have no amplifiers? And it's just so stupid. And the third thing is, and you'll have to see it yourself, I think that both Billy and Dusty are wearing wigs. They're not wearing hats. They're not wearing any hats, which, of course, they were wearing their hats all the time.
Real beards.
They have their
beards are real.
beards. They got their beards, and they're really long. So that's definitely past when they took their vacation after their first couple albums. But they have their hair is like little puffy sort of little things, and they're just smart alecky to this woman who's asking stupid things. Of course, she's asking about the beard, and Billy goes, "I shampoo it every day." And she asked Dusty about his beard, and he says, "I take it with me wherever I go." Just stuff like it. So anyway, Look that up. Look that up. It's pretty cool. We might mention that we have a pickup demo coming up. We used to do a lot more of these. This is from a guy in Australia who sent us this. This is Murray pickups. They look like this. They're humbucking. Stay tuned for those. We might have a couple other pickups maybe that we're going to go after the PAF sound. Right?
Yep.
We get other things, miscellaneous things, like what about these V-picks that we've been getting?
The V-picks are made by Vinny Smith down in Nashville. And I saw, a friend of mine told me that they were really good. So I contacted Vinny and he sent a couple of them to me. And they are really good. His claim that you won't drop them is really true. Once you start playing with this pick, they just kind of get a little bit tacky, a little bit sticky on your fingers, and I mean you won't drop the things. They're unique in that they have a beveled edge around them.
They're thick.
They're thick, but they bevel.
Yeah, they're not going to bend.
Point. Oh no. No.
So not to go on and on and on about the person that actually should remain nameless, but it appears that there's a pick that he makes for Billy that is clear. Looks like this. Actually, it looks more like the bass player, right?
Yeah, it does to me.
And it's beveled on the edge. So anyway, interestingly enough, we had a pick that came with the Automac Windery, make some great pickups years ago. And it looks almost the same, made by V-Pick. So there you go.
Try them out, see what you think. These have a rough beveled edge.
Yeah.
The one that I use has a smooth beveled edge to it.
I like that rough beveled edge.
Yeah.
It sort of sounds to me like the attack that you would hear on a violin bow that has rosin on it. It's just like a really cool attack. I like it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I've been trying to sit here ignoring the elephant in the room, which is Pat's jacket. And I think people are going to be writing in about this. And why don't you share a little bit of what the heck that is?
This jacket is made by Ed Hardy. Ed Hardy was a famous tattoo artist in the I guess the 60s, whatever. He does a lining of clothes, and his logo on most of his stuff, or a lot of his stuff, is, death or glory. Now, I don't know what you'd rather have, death or glory.
Yeah.
Would you get glory after you die? Or
I would have.
Do you want the glory before you die?
Well, I'm thinking that I would have put the glory first, because if you do the death first, you don't have to worry about anything else. It's sort of like if you went death or really, really huge amount of money or the greatest guitars in the world. You don't even have to worry about it if death is their starting point, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, it's serious what he's doing, but geez.
Well, he's quite an artist, and pretty strange.
You ever get comments from people when you wear this shopping at?
I do when I go into, especially when I go into to Kmart.
Yeah.
And Wally's,
Walmart
and
stuff.
I get all these comments, and
They had the Harley shop.
yeah.
What's it say here?
I don't know.
Oh, his
It's
name.
upside down.
My goodness, it says Ed Hardy, Christian Auto G's or something. What is that? I don't know. Anyway, well, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Well, before we go,
it's
we
got a neat thing on the back too.
Oh, what? Yeah,
Can you see it?
I can. It's got a big bird, eagle. Boy, that is really some serious duds you got
You
going
never
on.
know what you're going to find in the secondhand stores and the thrift stores. So,
And which you haunt.
well, I do. I go in there. I look for different weird things, and this was one of the weirdest. For $7, I couldn't pass it up. So, and it fits. That's
It's good. It looks really good, and
Well,
it
thank you.
certainly gets conversations going down, like right now.
it does. It does.
Well, before we go, we should mention our website.
Well, before we do that, tell me about your travels quickly.
No,
Didn't you go somewhere?
I travel a lot because I'm going to die at some point in time.
Glory.
Yeah, we go to Europe quite a bit. We love going to Europe. Germany.
Did you see the Beatles in Liverpool?
Went to Liverpool. Didn't see the Beatles, but we saw a fabulous bronze statue of them. They're quite large on it.
Do you have a picture of that?
I don't.
I do.
I do too. I have a picture of it with me in front of it, of course. Yeah, kind of a big thing.
And do you have anything planned in the future?
Be going back to Germany in the spring, and Italy, and maybe Spain. I like Europe. Try to get in there and out of there before the big heat waves come, which is now normal. Didn't used to be normal.
Yeah, it's
You used to be able to go to Italy in July and you could actually walk around. Now you go to Italy in July and it's like being in the desert. Speaking of the desert, I'm going to be going to Palm Springs too.
wow.
Yeah, which is in the desert.
I'll be going to Forest Grove, maybe Cornelius.
Yeah, Cornelius is in between Pat's house, which is here. Here's Cornelius, and here's Forest Grove.
Yeah, yeah. It's,
Get good mileage,
I got about a 6-7 mile radius in my house.
That's
that
nice. That's good. Do you wave at the people when you drive by? Or
Yeah.
They wave at you?
They wave at me, usually with one finger.
Yeah.
but they do wave,
That's
you know.
rude. I can't believe that.
Oh, well.
Well, yeah, so I travel a bit. And if you live in any of those countries in Europe, and you like are convenient to stop by and you want to have a beer or something, which I will indulge in a beer and talk about the old days.
You buying?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, shit.
No, I'm not buying. Yeah, yeah. Our website, you can go to our website and talking about apparel. You won't be able to get any of these sort of apparel things because these are one-offs. But you can get the Doug and Pat Show t-shirts, and you can get them in short sleeve. You can get them in long sleeve. You can get them in large logo, small logo only on the long sleeve t-shirts, the Doug and Pat official hat, and Lord knows what else stuff we may have in there somewhere down the road. The Doug and Pat Show .com.
10 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Who
I mean,
would've-
we don't exactly put out a lot of shows because it takes us forever to do them, especially because I'm gone all the time. But 10 years.
Well,
Think we're going to go 11?
might as well. I don't have anything else to do.
Me either. Well, guys, I'm Doug. We'll see you next time.
Bye.